so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
Bro, you gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's a white people thing.
Escúchame, en esta casa los hombres no lloran.
You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
Thanks for hearing me out, bro. Appreciate it.
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Welcome back, everybody. More iRacing action here on the National Racing Network as we have got a fantastic show lined up for you here. If you thought the Lotus 49s were good, something tells me this one could be even better. The Lotus 79s coming to you live from Watkins Glen International for the Classic Lotus Grand Prix round number 2. Qualifications just getting ready to roll out onto the racetrack. Tell you a little bit about Watkins Glen. Located in the Finger Lakes region of New York, the longtime host of the United States Grand Prix dating to the early 1970s. Actually, even to the mid-70s, I guess it would be. 3.38 miles is this particular layout. FIA Grade 2 circuit. The track record on this layout held by Chip Robinson, 1 minute 35.6 seconds, and a 1990 Nissan GTP that you'll get to see right here tomorrow afternoon on NRN for the Camel GT Happy Hour. These 79s powered by the same 3-liter V8 Cosworth DFV, now making 475 horsepower. Slightly more powerful, bigger horsepower to weight ratio than even the Lotus 49s that we just saw. Taking a look at the weather conditions, going to be possibly a little bit slick out here on the racetrack. As it's going to be 77-degree ambient temperature, 92-degree track temp. Wind's going to be fairly calm out of the northwest. Pick up the first of our cars that we have out on the racetrack, and this one is going to belong to Junami Costa. Down through the heel of the boot, up towards turn number 9. This one is so incredibly tricky. Let's see who else we have here that we might want to take a look at. And let's see. I think we'll pick up Timothy Reed, who is also on the racetrack right now. This one will show you the side-by-side box. Let's also get you the qualifying ticker up here on the screen as well. Couple of Ferraris out on the racetrack. We discussed the possibility and the rule that maybe it's the IndyCar liveries that you're not allowed to have on the racetrack instead, because this is a vintage F1 car. But man, a lot of throwback F1 liveries out here. Another driver that we have out here. Let's get him up in that box in the lower right-hand corner. Guy with a couple of Indy 500 starts to his name. Oh, as soon as we talk about him, he's going to slide off at turn one. That's Gabby Chavez. Pretty cool to have Gabby out here with us for this one. Down to 5 minutes remaining in qualifications. That 312 T4 paint scheme. Yes. Times are starting to come in. Let's get our fastest lap graphic activated so you'll be able to see who does have the fastest lap of the session. Down over the start-finish line for Junami Costa. And he goes fastest lap, 1 minute 30.844, 132.969 miles per hour, just a tick under 214 in kilometers per hour. Luca Bracali currently second quick, Nathan Finnegan third, Bartos Servac running in the fourth position, and John G. Hill rounding out your top five to this point. Man, that low camera is going to get absolutely wrecked by one of these cars today. Taking a look at some of the other kind of F1-esque liveries we have out here on the racetrack. Let's see. Well, this one was a great one. Let's see. Bring this one up in the side box. The Cannon colors that the Williams team ran throughout the late 1980s. Beautiful race car. That livery looks good even on a car that doesn't necessarily fit it, so to speak. That car, those Williams were a little bit more of the rounded variety. Tomasz Tarnowski also on the racetrack, another Ferrari livery. Here's the one that makes me question, though. Is this against the rules or not? Ken Sasuke, oh, well, he's on pit lane, so we'll come back here. We'll show him in just a moment. But Robert Datillo piloting that Williams car. He's down over the start-finish line. Junami Costa over the line. New quick time, 1 minute 30.785, 133 miles per hour for Junami Costa. Pick up Nathan Finnegan. And let's see what he's going to do over the start-finish line. Car number 3 coming to a stop, 131.181. Francisco Javier Lopez on the speedway. He comes to a stop and will not improve. Let's see who else we have out here. Germano Cervini, and he's going to loop it out of the heel of the boot for the first time. That car comes to a stop. Let's pick up, man, David Tascon. Also, he bins the Lotus machine. There's another look at Tarnowski. Currently qualified 11th, just outside of the top 10. Love watching these cars twitch under acceleration like that. Off the final corner, Tarnowski will go. Let's see if he improves at all. He was in the 11th position And that lap looks like it will not improve. 1 minute 36.593, so he will stick at his 1 minute 34 second lap. Put that car in the 11th position. Down inside of 60 seconds remaining. You better be close to finishing up the lap, because if you're not, you may be completely out of luck in this one. So as we wait for qualifying to wrap up here, let's get fired up our point standings graphics here, and we can show you who is leading the broadcast championship standings heading into this race. And there you go. Qualifications are over. Let's refresh the data and pull up our point standings grid here. And it will be Junami Costa leading after 1 of 12 races by 3 over Nathan Finnegan, 5 over Kevin Stamm, John Hill, Timothy Reed, and Robert Simpkins, the 6 drivers who scored points at the Nürburgring 1 week ago. I'm sorry, Sebring 1 week ago. Take a look at the starting grid as everybody gets ready to fill in here. It will be Junami Costa and Luca Bracali occupying row number 1. Row number 2 for today's race will have Nathan Finnegan and Timothy Reed. Row 3 is going to see Bartosz Servac and John G. Hill. Row number 4 will be occupied by Robert Simpkins and Francisco Javier Lopez. Row number 5 for this one will have Joel Aguilera and Ken Saska in the Raul Boesel Duracell machine for Dick Simon Racing. I love the paint scheme, but I don't know that it's necessarily the most appropriate one to run. Tomasz Tarnowski and Hugh Zellbauer on row number 6. Row 7 is going to have Robert Totillo and Gabby Chavez. Row 8, Germano Cravini and David Tascon. Row 9, Gavin Taylor and Deepak Jaganthan. Row number 10, Adrian Hawcroft and Christopher Von Cito. And row number 11, all alone, going to be Chris Carlisle. Still waiting on a couple of cars to get out onto the starting grid. Not a whole lot of time left for these cars, though. 24 laps will be your distance here. Lights are coming on. Great flags out, away we go here at Watkins Glen. Great getaway for a couple of cars towards the front of the field. Top 4, top 5, all clean, single file through turn number 1. Possible early trouble for Chris Carlisle, having an issue at turn number 1. Oh my goodness. Wow, I was going to say, they are going to have to get single file there through the carousel. Down into the boot for the first time. Costa leads Reed, Finnegan, Bracali. Okay, Costa leads Bracali, Finnegan, Reed, and Servac. I'll tell you what, man, I love the sound of these cars, too. They are just absolute screamers. A little bit more high-pitched as well. I know that obviously a lot of your pitch comes from the exhaust note comes from the layout of the exhaust and how everything's kind of splayed out. Does Reed have the look up to turn number 1? He will not this time. Let's bring you up the side-by-side as we've got a couple of great battles out here on the racetrack. The one in the big box you're looking at is going to be the fight between Finnegan and Reed for the 3rd position. In the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, you are going to have Francisco Javier Lopez, Thomas Tarnowski, and Joel Aguilera battling. That is going to be 8th, 9th, and 10th on the racetrack. Tsunami Costa doing everything he can to absolutely eliminate any chance of these guys getting caught up. The lead already out to 1.8 seconds. Oh man, almost a little bit of contact between Tarnowski and Aguilera. In fact, Aguilera had the back way off of the number 6. Costa setting a new fastest lap of the race. Let's see, let's take a little bit further back here. Gabby Chavez, Ken Saska fighting. Oh man, oh we've got one car off into the fence. That's gonna be Tarnowski. Tomas Tarnowski spins off the racetrack, making hard contact with the inside wall at the exit of turn number 1. Get you the Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay in the side-by-side box. Keep an eye down there in the lower right-hand corner. Just a little bit too much on exit, big time back in with the left rear of that race car. Oh man, Tarnowski. Whew. That was a little bit dicey in getting that car spun back around. Oh, he is crab walking really bad down the back straightaway too. That's going to be a meatball and heading into the pits this time by. Still this great battle between Saska and Chavez. Let's fight for the 11th position. Moving a little bit further up the field, it's going to be Robert Simpkins and John G. Hill. They're about 0.6 of a second apart. But the other good battle is for the 2nd position. Bracali, Finnegan, and Reed running nose to tail, as the lead is now up to 2.4 seconds as they cross the start-finish line. So used to seeing these cars dive down into the inner loop there. And quite frankly, running the classic layout definitely takes a passing opportunity away. I will agree with my buddy Bizzle here and say this extra part of the circuit, the boot, is a little bit extraneous because it doesn't necessarily add a passing zone anywhere. Possibly down here into turn 8, into the heel of the boot. But I don't even know, that really depends on the car, whether that's going to be a passing opportunity there or not. This battle has settled down. Let's take a look here. Francisco Javier Lopez is going to have Gabby Chavez all over the back end of that race car. In fact, he just clears out of the way, lets Chavez through before they even get to turn number 1. So, oh, one car tumbling wildly. That's going to be Joel Aguilera. Oh my goodness. He has to immediately take the tow. Let's see what happened to Aguilera, but I think turn 1 strikes again. Here's the replay of the incident for Aguilera. Wow. Man, that one was a huge hit. We'll wind that one back. See if we can see what happened here. We'll go on board. Keep your eye on the hands here. Man, that car just hooked. Wow. And he went for a wild ride. Junami Costa again going fastest lap of the race. Second, third, and fourth, that fight has calmed down. In fact, we don't really have much of a fight anywhere on the racetrack at this point. Bracali able to open up a 1.2 second gap over Nathan Finnegan. He's going to have Timothy Reed about a half second back or so. Oh, let's back up here and pick up Robert Simpkins and John Hill. Hill going to have the peak down into the carousel. Yeah, wisely backs out of it. You can get the pass made through there, but you kind of sacrifice the exit and your run through the boot. You're going to give up a lot of time if you make that pass there. Ken Saska coming the easy way around Lopez. Let's go back to the battle here between Simpkins and Hill. Give us the shout in the comments here. Talk us through the race here. I hate feeling like I'm talking to myself. I'm going to be as interactive with you guys as possible, and ladies. Hill wants to make that move into turn 1, but it is just so dangerous there on corner exit. Almost like he's trying to get the job done at corner exit. You can see a little bit flatter entry into the S's for Simpkins. The interesting thing is that the toe isn't as great in these cars just because so much downforce is generated by the underside. But again, Hill has to really back out, but Simpkins pretty wide through the exit of turn 5. Your race leader is gone. 4.7 seconds and growing is the race lead. Last lap, only 3/100ths of a second off the best lap time of the race for Junami Costa. And he is right back on that same lap pace again here. Only about a 10th off that last time by for Junami Costa. 1/3 of the way through this race. Let's take a look and pull up the spotlight boxes here on your drivers. And Junami Costa started first, running first, fastest lap of the race. Back-to-back Grand Slams could be on offer here for Costa, as he just did it in the Lotus 49 race. Now trying to do it in the Lotus 79s. Running in the second position is Luca Bracali. Started second, running second. fastest lap of the race is about 4/10 back, about 3.5 tenths back of Junami Costa's best lap of the race. Last lap for Bracali, over a half second slower than Costa. So no real challenge to Costa at the front of the field, but almost sometimes that can be more difficult. When you're just hot lapping, that can be a big time challenge. Running third and right up under the rear wing of Bracali is Nate Finnegan, about a half second back. Same deal, started third, running third, with the fastest lap, about 4/10 off of your race leader. Timothy Reed runs in the fourth position. He's 1.5 seconds back of Finnegan. As we have a new fastest lap of the race. Pull that one back up for you. Is Costa just under 132 miles per hour. A little over 212 kph, 1 minute 31.557 seconds. Timothy Reed running in the fourth position as we discussed. Started fourth, running fourth. Not a bad run for that car. Botash Zervac started fifth, running fifth. Again, no change. His fastest lap is a full second and a half slower than what we've seen out of your race leader. Robert Simpkins has John G. Hill all over the rear wing of that car, still battling for the sixth position. Looks like we may have had trouble on the racetrack for Robert Datillo. Luis got the car off track, was very slow, giving up a position to Hugh Zybauer. John G. Hill started sixth, running seventh there in car number 7. One of the guys putting on the great show there with Simpkins, just back behind him as well, making up a lot of time. Gabby Chavez in car number 9. Started 14th, running 8th, easily your hard charger of the race. He has a couple of more spots that he could possibly make up here. Running in the 9th position is going to be Ken Saska. And rounding out your top 10 will be the number 12 of Francisco Javier Lopez. Let's get back up here to what is now this 3-car battle between Simpkins, Hill, and Chavez. It's down to 15 laps remaining in this. We're working lap number 10 of 24. Oh, Gabby sliding it way wide. What's interesting I find about driving these cars is the fact that, like every car on the iRacing platform, if you get the rear tires warmed up, kind of spinning them around like that on corner exits we saw out of Gabby Chavez, it can make passing very difficult. Now Hill taking the gentlemanly way there and letting Chavez by before they get back to the heel of the boot. So Chavez up now to the 7th position as Junami Costa again goes new fastest lap, over 132 miles an hour. The off-track and contact going to cost Robert Datillo. It will be the end of the day for that race car. And Chavez has the look down to turn 1. First pass in anger we've seen into that corner in this race. Looking at the list, now down 5 cars that appear as though they will be out of this race. An extended time on pit lane for Robert Datillo, but Joel Aguilera, Chris Carlisle, Tomas Tarnowski, and David Tesco out of this race early on. Those cars will finish 15th through 18th, respectively. Chavez again having the look on Simpkins. How many times this lap these guys want to trade this position? Oh man, Simpkins thought about making the dive into the corner, but Chavez already there. But Gabby Chavez is going to be up to the 6th position, but he has got a lot of work to do if he wants to catch Bartosz Servaj. Servaj running in 5th, about 10.8 seconds ahead of these cars, as Costa again goes fastest lap, 1 minute 31.348. Gap starting to close up a little bit at the front of the field here between Nathan Finnegan and Timothy Reed. Sitting right about a half second, not too far up the road, about 7/10 is going to be Luca Bacali running in the 2nd position. So this is 2, 3, 4 on the raceway. Possible issues on the racetrack for Adrian Hawcroft. He was slowing down in the toe of the boot to allow your race leader to come past completely. Hawcroft running in the 13th position. Oh, trouble for Gabby Chavez! That car is off the racetrack and on pit lane. Let's take a look and see what happened to Chavez. Down into the heel of the boot for the first time. Back end loops around and hard contact into the tire wall. Gabby Chavez will go out of this race. Tough break for the pilot of car number 9. This battle now coming around that lap car of Hawcroft. Side by side are going to be Hill and Simpkins in that battle for 6th. Costa again goes fastest lap. He's approaching the 1 minute 30 second range, down to a 31.153. So it's 11 laps to go here at Watkins Glen. Want to remind everybody, coming up tonight on NRN, it will be U.S. Open Wheel C-Class and U.S. Open Wheel D-Class cars. Indy Pro 2000, US F 2000, for Oval Week at USA International. Tomorrow afternoon from Jerez, it will be the Camel GT Happy Hour. And on Saturday, a pair of races for the Spec Corvette Series. Real world racing action coming back to the NRN airwaves courtesy of Spec Corvette. In one of the most unique broadcasts that we will ever do, Spec Corvette runs almost entirely via onboard cameras. We get a little bit of timing and scoring data, but not much. There it is, new fastest lap, and he's down into the 1 minute 30s. Junami Costa, 1:30.969. Nice lap for Junami Costa. The lead over Luca Bracali is up to 11.2 seconds. Part of the reason for that gap growing, though, is the fact that Luca Bracali is absolutely under attack. Oh, that's tight! Almost off track. Finnegan did go off track, trying to pass Bracali. Oh, there's contact! Two cars going to be involved hard off into the tire barriers. Bracali's involved. Finnegan's involved. Reed comes through. He'll take second place. How damaged are Bracali and Finnegan? Finnegan buried into the Armco. He has to take the tow. There's your new second place man, Timothy Reed. Third place runner, Luca Bracali. But is he going to give up a ton of time to Bartosz Servac? That incident was huge into the carousel, and it started about halfway down, actually even exiting the S's. Let's take a look. We're going to go full screen here on the Hot Shoe Racewear Instant Replay and pick this up as they exit. Look at that. There's Finnegan off into the grass. Maybe a little bit of a squeeze from Bracali. Finnegan keeps it in there buried. Maybe a little bit of netcode, but both of those cars slide off and into the tire barriers. Finnegan trying to get back out onto the racetrack, but just absolutely no steering on that car. Just piles of aggression out of those guys. So now let's reset the field for you. This is your race leader, Junami Costa. Running in the second position, another Ferrari liveried machine, this one belonging to Timothy Reed. Still in the third position is Luca Bracali. Now, I have to wonder if there's not possibly a meatball here, because that was pretty big contact for those cars. As we are now down to 8 laps to go. Oh, and issues for Timothy Reed. Reed crashing out of second position. Trying to get that car back onto the racetrack, but Bracali's going to come back through and pick up second. My goodness, what is going on here late in this race at Watkins Glen? Get you up the Hot Shoe Racewear Instant Replay. Follow along to what happened to Timothy Reed down there in the lower right-hand corner as Bartosz Servac comes around Reed for the third position, loops it off the corner, hard into the tire barriers and the Armco, but he's able to keep the car moving. But Reed now having issues as well. We've heard in the past about races that nobody wants to lead. How about the races that nobody wants to finish second on? Trouble for Ken Saska out on the racetrack. As Costa again goes fastest lap. Take a look again, lower right-hand corner of the screen. Here's Ken Saska down into the carousel. Car just steps out. He slides off and into the tire barriers. My goodness, there is a ton going on here. I can't believe Luca Bracale's car does not have a bunch of damage to it. But he's on pace. Last lap, a 1 minute 34.8, so he is a little bit slow. And Servac is closing in. The gap now down to 1.1 seconds. And Servac will definitely, at least at a minimum, catch Bracale before the end of this race. He may even catch him before the end of this lap. Absolute drama here at Watkins Glen International, everywhere but the front of the field. That's still going to be Junami Costa's domain. And now we're down to only 12 cars remaining on the racetrack. Although, well, no, maybe not. Let's see. Is Servac going to come around the outside, exiting turn 4. Man, that's a gutsy place to make that pass. But you can see definitive damage on the car of Luca Bracale. I think the bigger question for Bracale at this point is, will John G. Hill be able to catch him? John Hill sitting about 2.2 seconds back. Down to 5 laps to go. To give you an idea of how big this gap is, 34.7 seconds. Your race leader is already into the carousel. We're following second and third as they just come across the start-finish line. About a third of a lap behind is second place Bartosz Servac. Let's pick up John G. Hill, get him in the lower box here. You'll be able to see where he is running. Both of these cars are now on the back straightaway. You can just barely see Hill come into the picture. But the last lap for Luca Bracale, a 34.49 to a 32.8. Oh no! Servac spins! Bartosz Servac spins out of the second position. Nobody wants to finish this race on the podium. Costa again goes fastest lap. He's down to 130.6. Over 133 mile-an-hour lap average. So Luca Bracale, running in the second position, gets gifted a little bit of time by Bartosz Servac having an issue in spinning. He's able to keep that car going, though. Let's see what happened to Servac here. Pull up the instant replay in that small right box. Servac down into the boot. The car just steps out. The back end comes loose. Lets it roll to the outside before grabbing first gear, and away he goes, but giving up the second position. Now Servaj trying to come back around Hill. Again, putting a little bit of heat in those rear tires. And they're only 1.3, 1.4 seconds back of Bracali for second position. My goodness, Junami Costa again, another fastest lap of the race. That car is hooked up at the front of this field. Servaj closing in on Bracali. Down to 3 laps to go. Your race leader is halfway through the boot. The lead now up to 45 seconds. Oh, and Servaj spins again. Hill comes around for third. Simpkins may be able to catch up. Let's take a look at our weather conditions here, see if things have changed at all. Track temp up over 101 degrees. It's toasty out here at Watkins Glen. We just talked about the lead being 45 seconds. It's already up to 47 seconds. In fact, let's bring this up here because we're down to basically a lap and a half to go. This is the race leader entering the boot. And second and third place are just getting out of the boot. Can Luca Bracali hold on? The gap is sitting at about 0.8 of a second here. John G. Hill was a full second faster than Luca Bracali last lap. A 32.9 to a 33.9. And you can see, you can measure that gap at about 4 car lengths, as they are out of the carousel. Hill is going to have a shot at the second step on the podium. White flag is out, 1 lap to go. Your race leader out of turn number 1. He's going to have a little bit of lap traffic in front of him. If something should happen to race leader Junami Costa, that makes the big box battle 1 for the race win. Finally, 51 seconds after your race leader takes the white flag, second place, Luca Bracali will come around to see the white silk at the start-finish line. We're going to tail this battle for most of this finals lap. We'll show you the full screen checkered flag for your race winner. Here comes Hill. He's looking inside of Bracali. Man, Bracali fades down the straightaway. He's going to dive back up inside into the carousel. Checkered flag in the air. Race win goes to Tsunami Costa. Now Hill around Bracali through the boot. Robert Simpkins 6 seconds back and closing quickly. But is Hill going to be able to hold on to the second position? Tsunami Costa is parked on the racetrack between turns 1 and 2 because he can't do any of the celebratory stuff until everybody else has crossed the start-finish line. Hill able to open up a 7/10 of a second gap over Bracali through the final corner. Even this isn't a guarantee. Under the checkered flag, John G. Hill will come home second. Luca Bracali will come home in the third position here at Watkins Glen. There's fourth place, Robert Simpkins coming across the start-finish line. Timothy Reed out of the final corner. He will finish in the fifth position. There's Botas Servash out of position number 6. And the last car that will finish on the lead lap will be Francisco Javier Lopez, a guy that we saw letting cars through on multiple occasions in this race, finishing just outside of the official broadcast points. Oh my goodness. Let's take a look at our final race results. Tsunami Costa by 55 seconds over John G. Hill. Luca Bracali finishing in the third position. Robert Simpkins in fourth. Timothy Reed in the fifth position. Six through 10 going to be Bartos Servaj, Francisco Javier Lopez, Germano Cervini, Yul Zulbauer, and Ken Soska rounding out the top 10. Completing your 20-car field here tonight, actually 21 cars here tonight. Nathan Finnegan finishing in 11th, 9 laps down. Adrian Hallcroft 12th, Gabby Chavez 13th. 14th to Robert Datillo, 15th Joel Aguilera, Chris Carlisle 16th. David Tascone in the 17th position, 18th, Tomas Tarnovsky, Gavin Taylor 19th, and Deepak Jaganthan in the 20th position. Also in 21st will be Christopher Von Sydow. Oh man, what a wild, wild race. If any of our drivers are listening and available to pop in for interviews, we're ready to chat with you. But holy cow, what a race. What a way to finish this show out here tonight. We'll get ready to wind back everything back here for the instant replay. Let's pick up our, we'll pick up our race winner here. At the very least, anyway, we'll get you a very nice look at these race cars here. Let's see. Pick up. Yeah, we can do this camera. Pick up your race winner, Mr. Tsunami Costa. Fantastic show he put on here tonight. We didn't show a whole lot of them. That's why we're going to give him at least a little bit of love here in the post race as we wait to see if any of our podium finishers pop in for an interview. But absolutely dominant performance by Tsunami Costa. 55.377 seconds, the margin of victory in this one. Absolutely fantastic drive tonight to this afternoon from Tsunami Costa. But with that, looks like we will not have any of our drivers popping in for interviews here. So we'll get ready to head on out of here because we've got 2 more shows to broadcast this evening. U.S. Open Wheel C-Class coming up at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, followed immediately thereafter by U.S. Open Wheel D-Class coming up in the 10 o'clock hour. With that, it's going to wrap things up here for Classic Lotus GP from Watkins Glen. Great afternoon of racing. A lot more coming up tonight. Tomorrow afternoon, it will be the Camel GT Happy Hour show starting at 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That will have the Nissan GTP taking on the Audi 90 GTO. Coming to you from Jerez over in Spain, our first visit to that newly released facility for the iRacing platform. Then this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, it will be the Spec Corvette Series from California. Back on Monday night, 9:45 Eastern Daylight Time in the PM. That will be the iRacing Silver Crown Cup. Back on Wednesday as well with the Sim Racers Club. Lots of iRacing here and some real-world stuff coming up for you as well. But with that, we are going to get the heck on out of here. For everybody who helps us make these shows happen on the National Racing Network, my name is Chris Graham. We appreciate you hanging out with us. We will talk to you all soon. Have a good night, everybody.